Welcome to the Everything Spectrum channel. I'm Ann Kagris, and this is the place where everything is autism, and we do our best to address anything that has to do with the autism spectrum disorder. One of the ways that we get diagnosed is to take autism spectrum certain tests, and there's this one test, and it's even on the internet, so if you would like to take it, you can. It's called the Autism Spectrum Quotient, and it's AQ. And I'm not saying that it's accurate, and I'm not saying that it's a diagnostic tool. I'm just saying that you can take it and you can see if you score within the range that would consider you autistic. I have taken it, and I'm going to take it right now and with you and see what I score. It says the Autism Spectrum Quotient, AQ, is a diagnostic questionnaire designed to measure the expression of autism spectrum traits in an individual by his or her own subjective self-assessment. So, subjective self-assessment. It was first published in 2001 by Simon Baron-Cohen and his colleagues at the Cambridge Autism Research Center as part of the widely, there's two thes there. See, they put the widely cited study entitled The Autism Spectrum Quotient, Evidence from Asperger's Syndrome, High-Functioning Autism Males and Females, Scientists and Mathematicians. I mean, they've already messed up in a few places. High-functioning autism is not really a diagnosis, so they really can't put that. Asperger's no longer exists because it falls under the autism umbrella. Everything falls under autism now. So, with that said, and if you feel as if you take this and you want to find out if you have autism, I would go to a professional and have that done. I'm not diagnosing you here. And even though it says it really is, it's just a subjective self-assessment to see if you do think you have it. And if you do think you have it, chances are, if you're taking this, chances are that you very well might. So there's 50 questions in all, and you either definitely agree, slightly disagree, or definitely disagree. So in the first one, it says, I prefer to do things with others rather than on my own. Most of the time, yes. Do I have that opportunity to do that? No. And it really does consider, I have to consider the situation to make that determination. I mean, I don't want to go to a new place on my own. So yes, I definitely want somebody there with me. But would I prefer to do things on my own? Yes. And that's the problem with some of these tests, is because somebody with autism is going to read every single word and tear it apart before they answer the question. And you get to the point where you can't answer the question. You can't answer the question because it really doesn't fit in any of them. So I do prefer, so I'm going to put slightly agree because it depends on the circumstances. Number 2, and I'll mark here, I slightly agree. Number 2, I prefer to do things the same way over and over again. And yes, I absolutely do. From the moment that I wake up in the morning until I go to bed, I want things in order. Now, that's not life, but that is the way I would prefer things. So I'm going to put definitely agree for that one. Number 3, if I try to imagine something, I find it very easy to create a picture in my mind. Yes. I'm a picture person. I mean, that's how I think. I think in pictures. So I'm going to put definitely agree. I frequently get so strongly absorbed in one thing that I lose sight of other things. Yes. I can get to the point where I don't hear people around me, and I love to get absorbed in something. I actually love it and want it and need it. So Yes, definitely agree. I often notice small sounds when others do not. Yes. I notice a lot of things around me when others don't. So, I mean, I can hear a high-pitched sound of a fluorescent bulb. It's crazy. So, definitely agree. Other people frequently tell me that what I've said is impolite, even though I think it is polite. Yes. I'm just going to leave it at that. When I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the characters might look like. Now, this one is a little hard for me because I'm a very nonfiction, not think outside of the lines person. I stick to what I hear. I can visually see somebody if they are exactly describing somebody. Yes. So if I read it, when I'm reading a story, I can easily imagine what the character might look like. If it tells me so, yes. So I'm going to put slightly agree. I am fascinated by dates. Yes, very much so. I'm very much into scripture, and one of the things that I do is I can just see patterns and numbers and relations all through different things that I read. So yes, I have to put that I 100% definitely agree with that. In a social group, I can easily keep track of several different people's conversations. Not even close. I have a hard enough time listening to the person that I am speaking to, because as soon as you enter noise and any kind of distractions, my ears go out the window. Somebody asks me to look at you and I can't hear you. So I find social situations easy. Not at all. So I'm going to have to say that I absolutely, definitely disagree. Now, there are times that I do. If I am in a certain mode of like my journalism type mode where I used to ask questions for the newspaper, and then I can get into that kind of a mode and ask them some questions that I think a journalist would ask. So then yes, but no, for the most part, not at all. I tend to notice details that others do not. That is 100% yes. I do notice, even if somebody gets a haircut, if somebody looks different, if something is different in a room, if it's been moved, I'm that person. I would rather go to a library than to a party. Yes, I would. I don't mind parties. In fact, sometimes I can get into a party, and it depends on who's there. It depends on if I know people. But if I walk into a room with a lot of strange people, I would like to be invisible, and I do not want to even be in the room. So I'm going to put slightly agree for that, because I would say in certain situations, I would like to go. I find making up stories easy. No, I can't. In fact, when I play with my kids, I am not good at making up that story at all. I find myself drawn more strongly to people than to things. That's a hard one, because I have a fascination with people's behaviors. Not necessarily that I want to hang out with people, but I am drawn to I have a fascination for people's behaviors. So, but I like things like, I love antennas and scanners and frequency numbers and things like that. But I am going to put that I find myself drawn more strongly to people. I'm going to put I slightly disagree on that. I tend to have very strong interests which I get upset about if I can't pursue. I tend to have very strong interests which I get upset about if I can't pursue. I do have very strong interests, absolutely. and I find myself in situations all day, all the time, that I'm not able to do them because of circumstances. I've taught myself not to get upset, but am I? Yes, all the time. So I'm going to put that I slightly agree. I enjoy social chit chat. No, there's no reason for it. Why? I don't get it. When I talk, it isn't always easy for others to get a word in edgewise. No. I'm going to put slightly disagree though, because sometimes when I get to talking, I don't realize that somebody else is trying to talk when I'm trying to talk. So that can happen. But for the most part, I'm fascinated by numbers. I already told you that. So, yes, I strongly agree with that. Whoops. When I'm reading a story, I find it difficult to work out the characters' intentions. I strongly agree. People have to always explain things to me, even in a show. People have to explain things to me. I don't particularly, that's a really hard word, I don't particularly enjoy reading fiction. Never. I don't even bother. Have no desire. If it's not real, if it's not something that I can learn from, or I don't even want to think about it. So I find it hard to make new friends. I mean, the question is, do I want to? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I want to make new relationships, but for the most part, I'm going to put slightly disagree. I'm going to put slightly, I slightly agree. Okay, number 23. I notice patterns in things all the time. I already said that. Yep, I notice patterns in things all the time. I would rather go to the theater than to a museum. I like them both. Because in a theater, you really don't talk, and in a museum, you really don't talk. In museums, oh my gosh, in museums, like I went to the Holocaust Museum in LA. I went to the Anne Frank exhibit. I mean, there's just such exciting, interesting things. So, no, I think I would rather go to a museum. I'm going to put slightly agree. It does not upset me if my daily routine is disturbed. It does. I mean, I could go into a full-fledged being upset when my daily routine is upset. So I disagree. I frequently find that I don't know how to keep a conversation going. At times, I do, and it really does depend on the person, and it depends on the situation. So I'm going to put slightly agree. I find it easy to read between the lines. I don't. I can't. You need to tell me. Just tell me. I usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than on the small details. You know, I saw this question before. I've asked this question to myself before, and I don't understand it. I usually concentrate more on the whole picture rather than the small details. I don't know. And there isn't an I don't know here. So I think I'm a detail person. So I think I'm going to put that I slightly disagree. I am not very good at remembering phone numbers. I am. I'm good at that stuff, so I'm going to slightly agree. I don't usually notice small changes in a situation or a person's appearance. I do. So I definitely disagree, because I do. I know how to tell if someone's listening to me, or if someone listening to me is getting bored. Are you getting bored right now? Is the questionnaire is that boring? No, I don't. I'm not good at reading people, so no. I know how to tell if someone's listening to me is getting bored. No. I find it easy to do more than one thing at once. No, never. I'm not a multitasker. Unless I'm watching TV, I can do something on the computer. But other than that, no. I can't do two things at once. I can't even hear and look at you at the same time. When I talk on the phone, I'm not sure when it's my turn to speak. All the time. Even happens to me on Zoom. I don't know. I enjoy doing things spontaneously. It depends. If I'm in the spontaneous mood, then yes. When I'm in LA and I'm on a sightseeing tour, absolutely. That's what I'm there for. I'm there to be spontaneous. If I'm in my normal day every other day, no. I don't want to be spontaneous. It better be exactly the way it's written out. So I'm going to say that I slightly disagree. I'm often the last to understand the point of a joke. That's me. I don't get it. Sometimes I pretend, I mask, yeah, it's so funny, but I don't have a clue what you're talking about. No, I'm laughing at the situation, but I really don't have a clue what you're saying. Don't ask me, because I don't know. I find it easy to work out what someone is thinking or feeling just by looking at their face. I'm going to put slightly disagree though, because in some circumstances, yes. In some circumstances I can, in some circumstances I can't. So I'm going to put slightly disagree. If there's an interruption, I can switch back to what oh, never. If there is an interruption, I can switch back to what I was doing very quickly. No. I mean, I normally can't remember even what I was talking about if somebody interrupts. I am good at social chit chat. We already answered that. See, that's the thing about some of these tests is that they ask the same question in different ways. I don't know if they're trying to catch you and trying to lie or something. I'm not really sure. But we kind of already covered social and chit chat and small talk. But I'm not really. So I'm just going to put slightly disagree. People often tell me that I keep going on and on about the same thing, like a quotient test. I'm going to say yes. When I was young, I used to enjoy playing games involving pretending with other children. No. I am not a pretend person. I never played Barbies. I never played with dolls and that kind of stuff. I can't pretend. And when my 6-year-old Sarah asks me to play pretend with her, she's the only one really out of my 3 kids now that I have that wants to play pretend. I just can't do it. I let her lead the way, and I just kind of go along, but no, I can't even do it. In fact, it's pretty annoying, but I do it anyway. I like to collect information about categories of things. Yes, I collect things. If you looked all around the room that we're in, it's a bunch of collections. It's my horror movies, it's my Marvel, it's my DC Batman, it's some comics and a lot of other things from my past. I love to collect. I find it difficult to imagine what it would be like to be someone else. I'm going to put slightly agree. I think that would be hard. I try to. I've been through a lot in my life, and I think I'm pretty empathetic. I think. I like to carefully plan any activities I participate in to the second. I enjoy social occasions. See, didn't we just cover that? I think we already know the answer to that one. I find it difficult to work out people's intentions. I think we already covered that one. The answer was yes. And new situations make me anxious. We already covered that. Yes. And I enjoy meeting new people. I think we already covered that. See, they try to trick you. I really do think that they do by asking it in different ways. 3 more questions. I am a good diplomat. I don't even know what that is. I have to look that up. I think not. I think maybe. I think so. If it means being nice, then yes, I slightly agree. I am not very good at remembering people's date of birth. I am pretty good at that. So I'm going to put slightly agree. I find it very easy to play games with children that involve pretending. I already talked about that. And the answer is no. Okay, let's score this. And I'm going to tell you what I got. Ooh, that was really high. I got a 42 out of a possible 50. And scores in the 33 to 50 range indicate significant autistic traits, autism. So I scored a 42. Now, I know I have it. I've already been diagnosed autistic. So that's a for sure. So, but if you want to take this, just look it up. It's just put in Autism Spectrum Quotient AQ and it will come up, and you can take it, and you can take it or leave it. I mean, if you want to believe it, you don't have to, if you don't want to. So, but go get a diagnosis at somebody professional so they can tell you whether you have it or not, or if a loved one of yours you think you have it, instead of taking something like this online. Now, it can give you an idea, but this, I'm not saying that this is accurate just because I scored a 42 out of 50 and I know I have it. So anyway, that's it for today. If you like my channel, please subscribe and keep coming back. Tell people about it, share it. Thank you for visiting the Everything Spectrum channel, and keep it real and keep moving forward.